Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Mini Books Podcast with your host, Gloria and Rogan. And today we are excited to dive into Special Book with You. We picked this one because it has really important lessons to share, and we can't wait to talk about them. So let's get started.
Okay, so picture this.
Okay.
You are so ready to start your own business. You have the energy, you have the drive,
Great.
but maybe not a ton of cash.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just don't want to manage a whole bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
What if I told you those things don't even matter?
Okay.
What if you could totally ditch that whole image of like the big-time entrepreneur?
Right.
You know, like the mover and shaker.
Yeah.
And just make your own rules.
Yeah.
Well, that is exactly what we are diving into today
I like it.
with this book, Go It Alone, by Bruce Judson.
Awesome.
So this entire deep dive
Yeah.
is about taking all the best advice on how to build a really successful business,
Okay.
but totally on your own terms.
I like it.
We're talking working smarter,
Right.
not harder.
What?
And one of the first things that Judson totally dismantles in this book
Yeah.
is that image of the entrepreneur as this reckless risk taker.
Right. Which, it's funny because that's kind of the image, right?
It is. It's like they just...
Like they're always jumping out of planes.
Yes, with like a prayer and a napkin sketch.
Exactly. Just like, I hope this works.
Exactly. And Judson's like, nope.
Hold on.
Hold your horses. He actually uses the word prudence.
Yes. Which I love that he does that because it really is about calculated risks.
Yes.
And he gives the example of Wayne and Newey, who took over e-machines when it was basically, circling the drain.
You're about to go bankrupt.
They were. Everyone thought that's where they were headed.
Yeah.
But he comes in and totally turns the company around.
And this is what I think is so fascinating. He didn't just come in with like some magic solution.
Right.
He was very methodical. Judson says he assessed the situation, found what their strengths were,
Yeah.
and rebuilt from there.
Exactly.
It wasn't about just blind faith.
Right.
It was about making smart decisions.
And that actually speaks to a bigger change that's happening in the business world right now.
Okay.
Because, things are moving so fast.
Yeah.
Technology is constantly changing.
Yeah.
Speed and agility are so important now.
So you're saying like smaller businesses might even have an advantage in that sense?
Exactly. Because they can pivot more quickly
Right.
and adapt to changes in the market faster than these big companies.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I mean, this is where I think that rule of decreasing support costs comes in.
Oh, absolutely. That's a huge one.
I love how he keeps coming back to that in the book.
Yeah, it's huge
Yeah.
because it's constantly getting cheaper and easier to actually run a business.
Right. And things that used to cost so much money,
Exactly.
now you can just, do it with your laptop.
It's amazing. And it really levels the playing field.
It does. It makes it so much more accessible.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's almost like you can fly under the radar a bit more when you're smaller.
Oh, absolutely. And that's actually something Judson talks about with Joe Strail.
Oh, right. It's Mr. Trademark. Yeah.
Yeah. Where he basically created this illusion of having a bunch of competitors.
Right. To scare off the real competition.
Exactly. Which is so smart.
It is smart. And it seems like kind of, I don't know, maybe even counterintuitive.
Right. Because you think, I want everyone to know I'm here. But he was like, no, I'm going to lay low.
Right. And dominate.
And Judson calls that building a competitive moat.
I love that.
Basically designing your business in a way that makes it really hard to copy.
Okay, so it's not just about what you're doing.
Right.
It's about how you're setting it up
The whole system, yeah.
to give yourself an advantage.
Exactly.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we're thinking about being all prudent.
Right.
We want to use technology to our advantage.
Yeah.
But how do we actually take, our skills and our talents
Right.
and turn them into a real business?
Exactly.
This is where it gets really juicy.
Yes.
Judson talks about this idea of, and I love this phrase, taking yourself off the clock.
It's such a good one, right? Because it feels impossible.
It does.
It feels like, how can you actually do that?
Especially when you're first starting out, it's like you're the business.
Right. You're everything.
You're everything.
But he's really talking about being able to identify which of your skills can be kind of packaged and systematized so that they can run without you.
So you're not just like trading hours for dollars.
Exactly. You can be, sleeping on vacation.
Yes. And your business is still going.
Exactly. And he gives a really good example with Krizan Marotta,
Okay.
who started this entire business providing reporting services
Okay.
to financial advisors.
Interesting. So even in like a really traditional field,
Yeah, exactly.
like there's still space for that,
Oh, absolutely.
that go-it-alone mindset.
Yeah, it's not just for
Yeah.
tech people or whatever.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And I think this is where those, what does he call them? Application service providers.
ASPs.
ASPs. Yes. That's where those come in.
Yes. Huge, huge part of this whole thing.
Because it's like, instead of hiring a whole team,
Right.
you can get an ASP to, I don't know, manage your accounting,
For customer service.
your marketing. Yeah. It's amazing.
It really is. Like, you can have this whole team of experts
Yeah.
without having to actually manage a team.
Without the headache.
Exactly. Sorry to interrupt you guys. If you're enjoying this podcast, then don't forget to check out our official YouTube channel, Mini Books Podcast, and subscribe for more great podcasts like this one. And the cost, let's be honest.
Oh, for sure. And the best part is,
Yeah.
these things are constantly being updated.
Yes, they just keep getting better.
Getting better, getting more sophisticated.
It's amazing how quickly they're evolving.
So it's like even more reason
Yeah.
to not get bogged down in those little details.
Absolutely.
And this actually reminds me, he talks about, I think his name was Wick Hay.
Oh, yeah, with Kaboom Beverages.
Yes. Kaboom Beverages. I love this story.
It's a great story because it just shows you,
Well,
you don't have to have it all figured out.
Right.
You can just start experimenting and see what works.
They were literally like handing out samples themselves.
Thousands of them, just to get feedback from real customers.
That's amazing. They were their own
Yeah.
market research team.
Exactly. And that's what's so great about this go it alone approach,
Okay.
is that you are so close to your customer.
You're not some CEO.
Exactly. You are in the trenches,
Yeah.
getting your hands dirty, figuring out what works,
You really understand your customer.
and you can respond to their needs so much faster.
So important. Yeah.
That direct line to the customer, it's invaluable.
Okay. So we're talking about being all smart and strategic,
Right.
building these efficient systems.
Yeah. Working smarter, not harder.
Exactly. But then Judson hits us with this curveball,
Okay.
the 60% rule.
The 60%, what is that?
I know. This one really threw me at first
Yeah, I can imagine.
because it almost feels like he's giving you permission
Okay.
to not be perfect.
Really?
Yeah, he's basically saying,
Okay.
especially when it comes to those ASPs,
Right.
sometimes good enough is actually better than shooting for perfection.
Interesting, because it feels so counterintuitive.
It does.
You want it to be perfect,
You do. You want to get it right.
especially if it's your business, your baby.
Exactly. But he uses himself as an example.
Okay.
He talks about when he was building speed,
Anywhere.
he had this tendency to want to micromanage everything.
Right, because you want to be in control.
You do.
Yeah.
But he realized by doing that,
Yeah.
he was actually holding himself back.
Interesting. So how did he turn that around?
So he basically realized
Yeah.
that by focusing on getting every tiny detail perfect,
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't leaving himself any space.
Right, to actually focus on the bigger picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to grow the business.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And here's the other thing.
Yeah.
Those ASPs, they're constantly changing.
That's true. They're evolving so quickly.
Right. So what's considered good enough today
Yeah,
might be completely different a year from now.
totally.
So it's almost like you have to give yourself permission to adapt.
Right. Be flexible. Be willing to learn as you go.
Be nimble, which is so important when you're going it alone.
Exactly. But let's be real, that can be scary.
It can be.
Yeah.
Even with all this talk of systems and efficiency,
Yeah.
there's still a lot of fall that comes with, going out on your own.
Of course. You're taking a risk.
And it's all on you.
But Judson actually talks about that.
He does, yeah.
He doesn't shy away from those fears.
Yeah, and he has some great advice for how to manage that fear.
Okay, like what?
Well, talks about Patty Larkin, remember her?
The musician. Yeah.
Yes. She kept her day job
Right.
while she built her music career.
Smart.
I know.
So she was still able to,
Yeah.
pay the bills,
Pay the bills, yeah.
but also pursue her passion.
Exactly. So it wasn't this all or nothing thing.
It's like dipping your toes in the water.
Yes.
Yeah.
And testing things out.
Before you just, jump in.
Exactly. And I love how Judson talks about having an exit strategy.
Oh, yeah. That's important too.
Even if things don't work out.
Yeah, how can you minimize the damage?
Right. And walk away having learned something.
Exactly. Because even if that particular business doesn't take off,
Right.
you've gained valuable skills and experience.
It's not a failure.
No,
It's an investment
exactly.
in yourself and in your future.
This has been so eye-opening. I feel like Go It Alone
Mm.
is more than just like
Yeah.
a business book.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a guide.
It's a mindset shift.
Yeah. It really makes you think differently about entrepreneurship.
And it shows you that it's possible for anyone
Right. Anyone who
with
have
a good idea.
A good idea.
Yeah,
And the drive to make it happen.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the resources are out there. They are. And the best part is,
What's that?
he gives you all the tools.
He does. He walks you through it step by step.
Yes. On his website, he has links to different ASPs.
He has advice on, like, getting insurance as a freelancer.
Yes. All the nitty-gritty details.
He really thought of everything.
He did. This book is amazing.
It is. But if there's one thing I really took away from it,
Okay.
it's that the best business ideas often come from solving your own problems.
That's so true. So often, entrepreneurs...
They've experienced a pain point,
Right.
and they figured out a solution.
And then they share that solution with the world.
Exactly. So think about it.
Ooh.
What's a problem that you faced
Ooh, good question.
that you could potentially solve for others?
That's your homework, folks. Go out there and find your problem to solve.
Find your passion.
Yes. And don't be afraid to go it alone.
The world is your oyster.
There you have it. I hope you're feeling so inspired
Me too.
to go out there and build something amazing.
Go get 'em.
Until next time.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this conversation and want to dive into more book insights and key learnings, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Mini Books Podcast, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We're back every Sunday at 9 a.m. with new books and more to learn from. Until next time, take care, keep learning, and keep growing. Remember, this is Mini Books Podcast.